You are approaching Saturn. You are only seconds away. I have arranged for you to meet my companion. He will lead you. Watch and listen.
From I Remember Gaming World Headquarters in Shenzhen, this is IRG TV News, with Tom Nuka and Dan Rather reporting. More gamers get their news from IRG TV News than from any other source. We now go live to our studio with Tom Nuka.
Yes, where in China, the whole country is a urinal. Good evening and welcome to IRG TV Nightly News. I am Tom Nuka. Some disturbing allegations have come forward by some eyewitnesses against the YouTube personality known as KodaK. These disturbing accusations accuse KodaK of defrauding his mother, having her buy him a Sega Saturn without actually doing what she required to earn it. For more on this story, we go out to our field correspondent, Dan Rather, who is out on site in Shenzhen, China. To you, Dan.
Oh, yes. Hello, Tom. This is Dan Rather reporting. IRG TV News out in the field on location. Yes, we have received some disturbing information that the video gamer and YouTuber known as KodaK in fact have defrauded his mom out of dozens of dollars. We found out in the year 1998, he propositioned his mother for a Sega Saturn that he had located in a local pawn shop. Now, our sources say his mother said, yes, I will buy the Sega Saturn. However, you must agree to some stringent guidelines for you to earn it.
Well, that seems completely reasonable. Can you tell us more?
Yes, Tom, yes. Now, the plot thickens. She told him, coming from a religious background from what our sources say, that you must read the scriptures, and you will read all of them before I give you this video game system. Now, one of our secret eyewitnesses has come forward with some disturbing information. She says when KodaK found out about this, he came to her and said, I quote, "This will be easy. I will just scam my mother. Every time she leaves the room, I will pick up my Game Boy. Give it a week, the Sega Saturn will be mine." Now, we can't corroborate that this is true, but we do have some other information that backs up the story. Michael KodaK Cameron's mother already was privy to the fact that she may be scammed. She came home that evening with over 50 audio cassette tapes. She told him, you will read these scriptures and you will read them on tape. Now, this seems all good and fine. However, we have received some of the audio tapes in question, and our forensic analysts have pored over every inch of magnetic tape. We can say now with 100% assurity, he did in fact defraud his mother of dozens of US dollars. We have seen that while he was reading through, he turned at least 10 pages at a time. So perceivably, to the human ear, if you were passing his room, it sounded like he was in fact reading through the scriptures as agreed upon. However, some of our experts say at some times, Michael KodaK Cameron would turn as many as 50 pages at the same time.
Yes, deceiving his own mother would seem that KodaK has a lot to answer for.
Yes, Tom, it seems that he is, in fact, the definition of evil. Now, this is IRG TV News reporting from the field. I'm Dan Rather, and back to you, Tom.
All right, Dan, I want to thank you for your report. We also have obtained some information of exclusive interviews with Michael's parents. We will go to those now.
With an exclusive interview with KodaK's mom, Gail Cameron. Welcome to our show, Gail.
Thank you.
What do you recall of your stipulations and guidelines you set down for your son to earn the Sega Saturn?
Well, as I recall, I scriptures.
Now, some people are saying that you used the cassette tapes to maybe make sure he did not try to skip any of the pages. Is that true?
I would say I trusted my son implicitly to read each page.
What would you say to me if I told you we had proof that he in fact did defraud you?
Well, I would say he lost out on reading the scriptures.
Do you have anything else you would like to maybe say to your son after finding this shocking news?
I would say to my son, I love you, and I know you will choose the right in the future.
You are a very, very nice woman, Gail Cameron. Thank you for being on our show this evening.
You're welcome, Hector.
Yes, this has been Hector Ramirez reporting with IRG Eyewitness TV in the field. Back to you, Tom.
Give a dong, 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 give a dong. Later on, an outbreak of slut grips hold of Coco Park, Shenzhen, China. Stay tuned.
Now, we interrupt this regularly scheduled program to bring you an exclusive IRG TV News special reports with IRG TV's very own hottest reporter in the world, Asian April O'Neil. We go to her live.
Thank you for sitting down with me, KodaK. Right off the bat, what's the first thing that comes to mind when I mentioned your mother and the Sega Saturn?
Oh, so you want to know this story? All right, so it was a rainy night in 1998, I believe. And I got a phone call from the chief of police. He told me my father had been involved in an incident, and he asked me to rush down to the hospital where my father worked. So, when I arrived on the scene, the chief of police informed me that there was a hostage situation, and they suspected that my father had gone a little crazy and gone on a murderous rampage in the hospital. They had reports of, people being killed, and they wanted me to help negotiate to release the hostages that the police said my father had taken. I got in my car, I had no idea, and I started driving to the hospital.
Wait, you got a car when you 8th grade?
Yes, well, just listen. I entered the sliding doors of the hospital, and I was astounded. I looked around, and I saw dead bodies everywhere.
Wait. What are you talking about?
Just wait a second. God damn it. I wanted to find my father, and I started walking down a hallway, and as I walked down the hallway, I saw something I can't explain. I don't know what I saw, because it was almost like a bubble, and it engulfed me. And suddenly I wasn't in the hospital anymore. I was in a dining room, and I looked around, and it was impossible. But I was there, and all of a sudden I saw my father's face disembodied over the dining room table, and he told me to go back.
This is your father. Go back. You must not cross over to this side. This is another world born of my own mind.
Go back to where you came from. Don't come in here. This is a place made by my own mind. And I was just wanting to ask him, why? Why did you kill all these people? But all he would say is, go back. So of course I went through, I went out of the dining room, and there was a hallway, there was some stairs. I saw a mirror to my left, and when I looked into the mirror, a hand came out and tried to grab me. And I was like, what is going on? It was impossible. I went up some stairs and I opened a door and there was spikes through people's faces and dead bodies everywhere.
Dead bodies everywhere. Dead bodies everywhere. Dead bodies everywhere. Dead bodies everywhere. Dead bodies everywhere.
And you know, I tried to walk through a room and a bunch of spikes came. They almost hit me in the face. And I saw a strange jewel-like beetle. I don't remember my mother at all. But when I saw this butterfly, I had a flashback, a memory of my mother. And it was me and my father and my mother, and we were all sitting at the table and we were eating dinner. I think we were eating steaks from what the flashback showed. I didn't understand what I was seeing. But it went away. As fast as it came, the memory was gone. And I continued to explore. There was so many things. It was like there was puzzles, there was, you know, there was all sorts of horrific scenery, and I just wanted to figure out why my dad killed all these people and where the hell I was. I had no idea. But I kept finding that beetle. Every time I found the beetle, it was back to the dining room table with my mom. And as I went forward, I kept seeing scenes that I could have never done. There's no way I could have done it, but I saw myself reach down and I grabbed my knife for my steak. And instead of putting it down to the steak, I stabbed her.
What the
I stabbed her. But I didn't, it wasn't me.
Oh my god.
But I had the memory.
Oh my god.
And as I went through, my father kept trying to stop me.
Laura, do not come to me. The one who I am to become needs blood for the change to be complete. You have seen what he will do, and it is your blood that he wants most. Laura, we are cursed.
And he told me that D stood for Dracula.
In our veins flows the blood of Dracula.
And that Dracula's blood was in our veins, that we had descended from Dracula. And that he had concealed memories from me of me killing and eating my mother. And I don't, it's too hard to talk about, really.
Oh my god, what the f?
Yes, it was a terrible story, and it scarred not only me, but all the kids in my neighborhood for life.
How so?
Well, you know, I had just received my Sega Saturn, and my grandfather took me to Kmart.
Nickelodeon. From the waves of the Pacific through the heartland USA.
From the old South to New England and towns along the way.
And we're proud to say you paid us America's favorite store.
Kmart, the saving.
The Sega Saturn this time had been discontinued, but all the games were still on the shelves for next to nothing. And we found a game on the shelf, and the game didn't have a title, it just had a letter, the letter D, and it showed a lady crying. And it was only rated T, so my grandfather purchased it for me. And we went back to my house, and you know, all the kids in my neighborhood were a little bit younger than I was, but they always came over because I had all the video games. And it was a rainy night, there was lightning, there was thunder, it was very late, and we took this game D, it had 2 discs. We took this game D and we put it in the Sega Saturn, and you know, it was rated T, so a T-rated game shouldn't be as violent and gory and scary For this game, to this day, you can see conversations on Facebook of the kids in my neighborhood talking about how they went to the Cameron house and they got corrupted for life by the game D.
Well, that's an interesting story. You know, I was talking about how you get your Sega Saturn dishonestly.
Oh, oh, I know what you mean. Oh, okay, yeah. So you we've been talking to my mom, yeah. So she wanted me to read like all these scriptures, like 1,000,000 pages. To earn a Sega Saturn only cost her $30. So, I mean, I still read like 15 tapes worth. I just, you know, when I was turning the pages, I just grabbed like 20 of them, threw them over, and just kept reading because I figured she'd never listen to it. You know, my gamble worked out because she didn't. I kind of feel bad about that, but, you know, I'll do anything for video games, whatever it is, dude. Sorry, Mom. I apologize. You caught me. My bad. I totally thought you were talking about D. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
You got me. Ooh, busted.
Okay, thank you, KodaK, so much. Thank you talking about with me tonight.
Yeah. Get out of my house.
Now you may return to the world as you know it. And remember, look for Sega Saturn. It's out there.